and welcome to Hixxy Studio. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this card using Sue Wilson's Peony sorry, get it out, Peony floral panels. So these have the inner to cut. Let's get this out. They have this part of the die that cuts in, and if you use it with this part then it cuts out, which is what I've done here. And then I just use the inner panel to cut in on this particular piece. Okay, so we are going to use some distress sprays. I've got fired brick and tattered rose. And I'm not using white card, I'm actually using some coloured card. And this is just some pink, sort of almost the tattered rose kind of colour. And it just makes it, just gives it a different feel. I'll also be using the actual Oxides, fired brick, and then a darker shade in aged mahogany to sort of match the background card. And the other thing that I have done with these dies for this card is to make them into stencils. Let's grab a piece of paper. Okay, so I have used them to just cut into a couple of sort of scrap pieces of craft card, and then I have used those to stencil. Not to stencil, they almost work as masks really, to add a little bit more texture to the background card. Okay, so I'm going to grab my spray box so that we don't end up in too much of a pickle. And I'm going to put a piece of paper in just to cleaning up in this in a minute. So you do kind of need an A5 side. This, as you can see, is not big enough, but that's because I already have this piece done, and I didn't want to sort of waste too much card. But also, it's exactly the same process, but if you do it on a piece of A4 card. Okay, so Distress Oxide sprays, you can hear the ball bearing. I just shook them up and down, but you can see what happens here is you get that leak in. So if you want to keep your caps clean and not waste, then the best way to do it is to shake like that. Or if you do want to shake up and down, grab a piece of tissue paper, not tissue paper, kitchen roll, and put it round, and then it won't get all messy. So I'm going to start with spraying this on, and you can see it. Whoop, I'm getting big drips, but that's okay. You can deal with that. There we go. Almost sort of covering the card, but it still allows that background colour to show through. And I am just going to grab a piece of kitchen towel. First of all, I'll put my overspray there because I was aiming the wrong way. But I'm also just going to dab off those massive sprays there. Okay, and then I'm going to go over with the fired brick. Okay, you see that was quite a good spray there. She says, "No, oh, there we go, nice big spray." I don't know what I'm doing with my sprays today. Look at that, nice red finger for us to start with. So I'm just going to dab that off. I'm not going to worry too much though. Okay, so that's all I want to do with the sprays. I'm going to side, and I'm going to dry this with my heat gun, and then I can do my stenciling on the top. Okay. And I'm going to use, as I said before, fired brick, which is one of the colours I've got on here. But I'm also going to use aged mahogany, which is slightly dark, or slightly, it is a very much darker shade. So with distress, particularly oxides, it's really good to sort of heat set in between, because it does allow for a lot better layering. Just giving that a bit of a blast. Okay, and I'm going to now grab my my inking mat, and I'm going to bring in these two stencils. So if I just grab the dies and I can show you what I did. So I literally, this one cut out there. I didn't use the outer die because I wanted a bit of a border around it. And then the same on this one with this, the ivy. So this is the peony part and this is the ivy. With all of these kind of floral panels, you do get one panel which is the particular flower, and then you get one panel which is foliage to go with that flower. Oh, and you get, look, like hit on this one, you get the little bee, which we will also use on this card later. Let's just move those to the side. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my inks now. Make sure I've got the right brushes for. And I'm not going to use necessarily too much ink, but I want enough that this becomes where the foliage is, if you like, and we get to see some darker shades around it. So I'm just taking a little bit of the ink off before I start to go over. And you don't necessarily want to go right up to the corners, because I know I have there, and I'll show you what because then you get that very straight line, which is not really what I want. So I'm kind of just going to go back over that. It doesn't matter that it's a slightly different part, just adds in a little bit more texture. So it really is just a case of now just going in and adding in this additional texture here. Let's see. So I'm going to sort of go over and do bits and pieces all over the card with this like so, and I might do a little bit of the peony here. Kind of forgot I had the peony just then, so you get a little bit of a different sort of idea there. And yeah, and like so, and a little bit here. Now I'm going to then bring in the aged mahogany, and that then sort of brings the tone down again. Oops, there's little bits moving around. A bit more ink on this one, I think. There you go. Let's see, it adds in. I'm going to bring in the ivy one again, because I think this is the, of the two for this particular part of the method, this is the better of the two stencils. And I am going to grab, excuse me, I think I'm going to disappear in a moment, because I think I do want to put in a bit of tattered rose, and I know where all my stuff is, so bear with me in a moment. Let's get this lot in first. Let's get all our... And you see, I'm just literally going backwards and forwards over, and it doesn't matter that I'm going over the top of anything else. Okay, so just bear with me a moment. Grab my rose pad. Just grab a... I'm going to keep talking. Grab my brush as well, and I'm back. There we go. I'm just gonna add in a little bit just to lighten it up. You see the difference here where I put that tattered rose on the top. So let's add in a little bit now, and it just starts to lighten the whole thing here. and I'll probably ink over more of it with this as well. Like this. It's just toning it down a bit, because they're quite dark colours, and this is a background, so just going to tone it down a little bit. I might just put a bit more aged mahogany. This is just wrong ink pad, not to worry. This is where you can just play. I mean, it really is a case of just playing around. And you can see they layer really well. So if you don't like particularly what you've done, then heat set it and then go over, because you can get some really lovely layering. Now there we go. This is definitely a lighter version. Now I'm not trying to ink it like you would like a piece of card to make sure it's all completely evenly covered. I'm just going over bits and pieces just to sort of, I suppose the way we say it is it's to knock it back. The sort of thing you might do with a thin gesso wash over acrylic paint. Just knocks it back a bit. Okay, right, let's put the inks away and let's have a look at what else we need to do. Okay, so I've got my two pieces. What we're going to do, we need a card. So I have here, this is the length of A4, and it is by 6 inches, just under. What I'm going to do is I'm going to score this in half, which is at roughly, not roughly, I'm going to score it at 5 7/8 of an inch, like bits like so. And you see I've got inky fingers, bit of transference there. Okay, now, I have not done that very well at all. But I'm not going to worry too much, because let me straighten that fold up. Because actually I want to take off, and we'll take it from that bit that ended up being a little bit too short. I want to take off 3 inches pencil. So I'm just going to mark here. And then I'm going to bring this in, and that gives me my card. And what I need now is I need a piece of card that's going to fit in here. We'll use this one for the background, and we'll use this one for this front piece here. So I'm going to cut this piece to size for my background and the inside of the card. I say the inside because it does show, it also shows sort of part of the way out of the card. So we're going to cut this. Oh, excuse me. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. Okay. Make sure I've got this around the right way, like so. Now I'm going to close the card, and I'm going to take the ivy die, and I'm going to place it so that I can see it. So if you see here, I've got this is where I'll cut it here. So I'll cut it into the background piece of card. Okay. So let's grab a bit of tape for this. Oop. I'm going to take this down. Again, holding that card down. Just want to try and make sure as best as I can that it's reasonably straight. Okay. So, and then this is going to go through our machine. Oh, don't need that. I'm going to try it without magnetic. This is the Gemini. I'm going to try it without the magnetic first. And we'll see how we go. If needs be, then we'll put it through again with the magnetic, or even just card if it's almost done. Okay. So turn it over, and it's almost done. Can you see? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly twist it, and I'm just going to grab a piece of card out of my box, a random piece of craft card. I want it a little bit more pressure, but I don't think I really want the magnetic in there. I may be wrong. We'll see. We'll see how we go. Okay. Right, now this piece that we cut off, and then this piece, which is the bit you cut off when you create the card base, we're going to use for the rest of the bits of the card that we need. There we go. And I can also see that that was enough to add in the embossing detail, because I can now see these lines through this side of the card. Okay. No, I lost my bigger card. There it is. Okay. Now just be careful when you've used tape onto an inked background, particularly if it's not one that is completely dry, because you will find it then sort of takes off the surface of the card. So just be slightly careful of that. Right, so actually I don't want this. Okay. A little bits out. Now it has embossed beautifully. The only thing I would say is when you've got a busy background like this, it doesn't always show very well. But it's absolutely there. If it was a plain piece of card, then you would be able to see that much more easily. I got all the bits out, a little bit here, a little bit there. Okay, so this is what will sit in there, and you'll see the dark card through that. So that's that piece done. Now we then need to cut the ivy, because I want the ivy. I've used the ivy here from the die cut. I want that cut in the sort of the dark burgundy card. I need to make sure my die is clean. A little bit down here. Yeah, that's out. So I'm going to use this with the outer this time. And tape the top. I'm not too worried here about lining it up, because I'm literally going to cut that ivy out, and then I want peony. We're going to do the peony on this one. And take this down. Oop. There we go. Sorry, it went a bit quiet there. I'm going to scissors. I'm putting them out. That's why I couldn't see them. I'm going to cut this piece off. And do I have room on either of these? I'll stick one on here. I've got a few already cut, but we will just stick this one through as well. Okay. I'm going to bring back in my plate, and if you angle them, they are more likely to cut. Not more likely, but they cut better because it's less pressure points across the width of the platform. And I am going to use my little piece of craft card again, because it seemed to work last time. Okay, put everything in. Smooth. Right, so we'll put that through. Now the sentiment I've already got pre-stamped. There's all the things. So here it is. This is from Julie Hickey's Everyday Sentiment Stamp Collection. Just really small but really versatile set of stamps. And I'm just going to turn that over. Oh, okay, let's see whether we've got that. Okay, now this bit here hasn't cut, so I am going to kind of just twist the pair of them. A little bit's fine. Just twisting the pair of them, and then we'll run that back through. So Julie Hickey Everyday Sentiment Stamp Set, that one. And then we've got to cut our piece for the front. This is almost through, so we'll just grab this. Yeah. Okie dokie, that's perfect. All right, move that to the side. And take off the tape. It's got quite sticky on there. Okay, right, so don't need that piece. I'll pop those bits out in a minute, and I'm hoping that you can see the embossed detail on there. And again, I didn't need to run it through with the plastic, the rubber, sorry, embossing mat. And I didn't need to use the magnetic shim, just an extra piece of card in my machine. So let's put these back. There's one thing you do with all of the floral panels, you do get the two of the outers, so you can cut them both at the same time, which I think is always very. I don't know why I'm using. I actually try and poke things out with my pencil. I don't think that would really work. Right, so that's there. Okay, so let's just pop out pieces. There. And there. Okay, so this one, just be a little bit careful because you've got lots of little. It might be easier to go the other way and push those bits out. Put this bit forward. There we go. And then there. And that bit. And again, same here. Oh, that one came out quite nicely. And that. And that. Okey-dokey. There we go. So that will be for the front piece of the card there in a moment. Let's not forget our little bee. And you can see when you put more pressure on this one, the tape really sticks. So just be aware of that. So our lovely little bee there with, again, some really beautiful embossed detail on it. And then pop out a bit from here. In fact, I don't really need to do that. I'm thinking where I want what I want out. So, I'm going to go across that bit. There. And I'm just going to cut. I'm using my whopping great scissors here when really I should be using my little ones like that. What else do I want? Where else do I want to cut it? Okay. That one. That. No, we're not using that. I'm just going to cut that off. Ooh, don't lose my little bee. Let's put that back on the thing. This little bit here come out. Where else am I going? I don't really want that bit there because it's only part of a thing. And then I'd probably say up to there is really all I want. So I'm going to cut there. And I'm going to cut here. So, and then I'm going to snip in there. Okay, right. That. I'll just put the other little bits out that I don't need. Well, I need to cut this side. I just realised I haven't cut down this side. I'm just going to grab my really little scissors just because I just want to trim that off there. And go that. And I think I will. I'm in an hour in it. I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to get rid of that there. But it's all sort of personal choice as to what you want to. Me, I think that will be plenty to go across the card there. Okay, so nearly got rid of my little bee there. Let's get rid of all my rubbish, and then we can look at putting this together. So I've got that for inside. I've got that that's going to go across here, and I have my sentiment wherever I put my sentiment. Who knows? I'll find it in a minute. It will be here somewhere. Maybe, who knows? So what I need to do now is I need to use this piece to cut a bit for the front here. I want it to be the same height as this one, so I'm using this to mark. Then I need to here. How wide I want it here, so I'm going to mark it there. Now, while I was doing that, I could see my little pencil mark there, so I'm just going back in and rubbing that off. And we'll grab this. So yeah, that and cover it there. I didn't put my sentiment in the bin. It's not, so it's got to be somewhere around here. So is that the piece? None of these look the right size. There, that'll be the piece. That's the bit we want. And you can see that this is a lot darker than this, but it's okay. Just adds a little bit of difference to it. So let's just maybe up a little bit and see if my sentiment reappears, which it doesn't. But let's put the rest of it together. Oh, bee, little bee. Oh, I've got another few in there. Get some glue. Some glue. Right, so the first thing, in fact, I want it bigger. First thing I'm going to do is put the glue on this one. So I'm going to use this one, a larger applicator on the larger pieces. And then my final applicator. In fact, I'll probably get away with this one on a lot of these leaves. Like so. And then I'm just going to use the finer one on some of these little stems, on the little curls, little tendrils of the ivy. Okay, I'll put on that leaf there as well. Okay, so let's put this around the right way would help. Let's put this in to our card. Grab a piece of paper to just press over the top of it, like so. We've got the ivy press down. That one, and then we're going to put this on the front, and then I'm going to put glue onto the other die cut to stick over the top. Okay. So again, I'm going to use the bigger applicator. I've got the larger areas, and then my oops, I've got glue everywhere. This one I think is going out. Right, we'll have to clean that up in a minute. Try not to get glue all over everything. Bear with me, I'm just going to pick those bits up from my mat before I get something all over it. Oh, this one's leaking. Not leaking, that's the wrong. I filled them, so they're pretty full, and where I've started squeezing them, they're like, yes, and the glue starts coming out. So they're not leaking, that was the wrong word. They're just very full at the moment. So the glue is having a bit of a field day. Okay, right, so this is going to go onto the front like so, and again I'm going to stick a piece of paper that I can go over and press it like so, and we want some glue on the back. Oh, it's this one on the back of our ivy. You don't need to add this, but I just thought it added a little bit more sort of interest on the front under the sentiment, which at the moment I still don't know where that's gone. Never mind. Right, so this is going to go kind of across here. Get that piece of paper. Press that down. And I'm going to just have another quick look for this sentiment. It's going to annoy me if I don't find it. It's not gone in the bin. It just disappeared. So the missing sentiment has appeared. It was underneath all of my cutting plates. So it obviously sort of stuck itself to that. So I'm just going to stick this on, and then our card is complete. So I'm just using a little bit of 3D glue gel, and it's just going to sit there just over the little bit of ivy that we've stuck on. Put my bees on, and then you can have a look at the two side by side so that you can see this glue is just like, I need to get all the glue out. So we're going to put a little bit up here, and I've got a couple more cut in here. So on there, which will stick kind of here, and one more. We don't need all of them. We're going to stick this little piece of ivy here. Okay, so let's have a little reset. I'm going to try and get the thing back in this glue. See, look, it's just like, no, I want to come out. In theory, you're supposed to clean the end before you stick that on, but this one is not having it. So get rid of that glue. Right, so we'll get rid of that piece of paper as well. Okie dokie, one last little look. I'm just going to stand up. Is that on it? No. Right, okay, so let's bring the other one back in. So you can see that the inking is always going to be different. There's just, you know, you're never going to get it the same. You're never going to put the stencil in the same place. You're never going to put the same amount of pressure on the ink, the brushes or whatever you're blending with. So you're always going to get different. I mean, this one here is even different to this one here. So, you know, it just is the way the nature of this kind of technique. But I quite like this being different to this. It adds a little bit more interest. So we use the floral panels, the Peony. So I used it as a stencil, used both of them to stencil for the background. And then I've cut the Peony completely out with the outer, and I cut the ivy into the background card, but I also cut it out here, but actually cut it completely out to provide a piece of decoration. And that's where I would put my sentiment. And I can almost guarantee in about 5 minutes when I tidy up, I'll be able to find it. But not to worry. Thank you for joining me. Please have a look on our channel, subscribe so you get updates to know when we put new content on. I have another card with this die set that will be on the channel. There is also a couple of other cards with a similar one, and one with a similar colour scheme as well. So have a look for those too. Thank you for joining me.